What up, you guys? How y'all doing? So Anaheim 2025 is officially in the history books, and holy smokes, we were entertained to two very good races. Let me tell you, okay? First of all, guys, I'm going to give my recap and my own opinion on this. I'm going to start with the 250 class. I'm going to do both classes in this video. But first of all, guys, remember, subscribe if you think that I'm worth listening to, or if you just want to see some more of my games. I have one scheduled for later today. So let's get into today. I'm going to start with the 250 class today, and here comes my banner. Jo Shimoda wins, Levi Kitchen to the east. This was probably the only not normal thing that happened in the main event. Jo Shimoda the winner. And my pick for the West title, Haiden Deegan, found himself on the ground after the first turn. And I have to say that I was surprised that Julian Beaumer was the fastest qualifier, and he backed it up with a second place rise. So good on Julian Beaumer for sure. But I have to say, though, looking back on last year's motocross season, I had given opinion that why we hadn't seen Haiden Deegan with a 1-1 sweep until probably late in the season was because he kept finding himself the victim of a fall on his own or somebody else. And unfortunately, that came back to bite him. As a result, Deegan had to come from the back, and I believe he finished in 6th in the first round. And for Deegan, it was a good salvage. But I have to say, though, I was pretty much disappointed for his teammate Cole Davies, because he had second in the heat race, and I thought for sure that Davies was going to have a good opening round, but he was down in 16th, and it turns out that he was taken wide in the first turn by Julian Beaumer himself. But you know what? That's the kind of stuff that just happens, you know. I mean, you're a rookie, and if you're Cole Davies, obviously that's not the result that you wanted. But this could be a good thing, because obviously you do have to learn the ropes. And when you go through that kind of phase of too easy, too quick, like David Bailey talked about with Ernesto Fonseca, when you get things handed to you a little too easy, too quick, or go through that too easy, too quick phase, somewhere down the line, you're going to pay a price. And I hope that's not what Jet Lawrence is going through in the 450 class. I'm going to get to that a little later. But as far as the 250s are concerned, Jo Shimoda winning was probably the only thing that wasn't out of the ordinary. Maybe next to Levi Kitchen pulling out and heading to the east. But, you know, this kind of reminds me of 1998 125 Supercross. Because how many of you guys remember when Ricky Carmichael and John Dowd went at it in the 125 East-West shootout in Vegas? And Carmichael ended up winning that one to sweep the entire Supercross season in the 125s, because he swept the East Coast. He won all 8 races. He made it 9 with the shootout, and John Dowd made multiple mistakes. And even in the winter interviews, Carmichael had said that was the hardest he had to work to win a race. And had John Dowd been in the same coast as he was, there'd have been some, quote, stinking good racing, end quote, in Ricky Carmichael's own words. And I believe him. But what happened there? Yamaha decided not to have a test track out east, which put John Dowd over to the West Coast division. And it turned into a battle between him and David Villeman for the 125 West title. Dowd won the first round at LA. Villeman won the next 3 in a row. But then when John Dowd found himself at San Diego, Villeman had no answer for him, and he couldn't beat him again. And as a result, John Dowd won the title, after Villeman crashed in the final round at Dallas and came away in 5th. Dowd won the race. And Dowd had to win because he was ahead by 3 points. And had Villeman won the last race, Villeman would have been the West titleist by virtue of the tiebreaker. Let that little thing sit in your mind. So that's what Kitchen pulling out and running east, that's what kind of reminded me. That kind of reminded me of that. Okay. But Jo Shimoda winning, wow, I was surprised. And I have to say, though, that for Jo to get on the board this early is a very good sign, because Honda, and he felt that, because Shimoda himself felt that he kind of underachieved at Honda last year, and I would be in agreement there. And would I have picked Shimoda to win the title? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But he would have certainly been on my radar, that's for sure. But Shimoda picked it up during motocross, and he started putting in some better results. And for Shimoda to possibly win this title, it seems about the right time. And, of course, last year was R.J. Hampshire, and, of course, he's going to be running the East Coast. But you know what? This could be a good thing for R.J. because, you know, you look at what happened with Nathan Ramsey. He won the West title in 1999, but an injury forced him to run the East Coast, and he didn't do all that great in 2000. So one wonders if R.J. Hampshire could possibly pull off a championship at both coasts, like Jet Lawrence did in 2023 and 2022. So that's the way I'm looking at it. Now to the 450s. Here comes my banner. Jet Lawrence 12th, Chase Sexton wins. Chase Sexton winning is the only thing that was probably not out of the ordinary. And I have to say, though, that Jorge Prado showed that he's a good starter. But obviously, when I saw him ride to the whoops, I was very, very skeptical that he was going to win a race this year. But if he works on it, I have a good feeling that Prado will find himself in the winner's circle in 2025. But I think as far as Kawasaki's concerned, they have to look at it. They have to look at Jorge Prado as a kind of a no-pressure situation. Like, if he wins, great. If he doesn't, then, oh well. Just learn the stadium. Just learn the soil. Just get some races under your belt and maybe challenge for wins later on. But I got to say, though, that the Tough Guy Award for me has to go to Malcolm Stewart after what happened to him in the sand section in his heat race. He came back for the LCQ and turned that into a 10th place ride. Now, from a general standpoint, Malcolm Stewart in 10th would be like, well, that's where he finishes normally. But that's not the case. If you saw what happened to him in the heat race and he came back for the LCQ, because that could very well have ended Malcolm Stewart's night, where he got tossed into the hay bales like he was bucked off a Brahma Bull or something. But still, good on Malcolm Stewart, and I'm sure Husqvarna was very happy that he was able to turn that into a 10th place ride. I would have been completely shocked if he came through and won that race. But then again, that was a long shot anyway. But Malcolm's not a guy that I would put my money on to win a race from the LCQ. Plain and simple. But it looked to me like at the start of that race with Jorge Prado with the hole shot and then Eli Tomac taking the lead, it looked to me like it was going to be another snoozer until Eli Tomac hit the dirt. Now, upon first viewing, I had thought that Tomac had hit the tough block that was in the corner. And it turned out that wasn't the case after looking at a replay. And it turns out that Tomac had landed a little sideways, lost the front tire, and went down. But the guy that was a big surprise is the guy on my banner, Jet Lawrence in 12th. And that all started in the first corner. where he lined up with Jason Anderson. And quite frankly, if I'm in the Jet Lawrence camp, I'm probably lining up on the outside of Anderson so that kind of stuff doesn't happen again. Let me tell you. But still, for Jet Lawrence to salvage a 12th place is a little bit uncharacteristic, which goes back to what I said earlier about Jet Lawrence possibly being shown the ropes and going through that too easy, too quick phase that I was talking about during the 250s. And I have to say, though, I hope that Jet Lawrence isn't going through that, because I think he's talented enough to maybe not experience that. And I'm not just picking on Jet. Other guys have gone through that phase, most notably Ernesto Fonseca, Chad Reed, and Ryan Dungey, just to name a few. Because as a lot of you guys remember, when Ernesto Fonseca won the 125 East in 1999, he went 6 out of 7 in that series. And then in 2000, he only won the final race of the season in Chicago, and he had gone through a lot of bad luck during that second pro season. And David Bailey had speculated that when it all comes too easy, too quick for you, somewhere down the line, you're going to pay a price. And that was kind of what I was thinking with Ryan Dungey in 2011. When you look at how his Supercross season went, because how many races did he win? Only one. How many races did he win in 2010? 6. And he won the championship as a rookie, mind you. Then motocross comes around. He goes on a 9-race win streak, wins the title, makes it 10 wins at the finale in Pala, and the next season, he kind of got his lunch handed to him for sure, which led me to believe that Ryan Dungey went through the phase of too easy, too quick, because he didn't deal with the competition. James Stewart was on the sidelines, Chad Reed was on the sidelines, Josh Grant was on the sidelines, and so was Andrew Short in 2010. Now Dungey had to deal with them in 2011, and it's safe to say that he kind of got his lunch handed to him then. Is Jet Lawrence getting his lunch handed to him? It's too soon to say because it's only the first round. So we'll see what happens when we head to Phoenix. And Lars Lindstrom had said that there was no reason to panic. He's right. You look at Jeremy McGrath when he won the 1999 title. He had a 7th at Anaheim 1 and came back to win the title with a 5-race win streak towards the end of the season. Lutz broke that string at St. Louis, but McGrath came home second and won the championship. And that was after some bad luck came Lutz and LaRocco's way. And Lutz crashed out of some races, had some mechanicals. Mike LaRocco had some tough races as well off the podium. And McGrath just rode away. And then Kevin Windham got hurt just before Minneapolis. Let that little thing stick in your mind. And of course, look at Ricky Carmichael in 2002. He crashed out of the first round, finished 20th, and then he ended up winning 11 races before the end of the season, and he came back to win the title after David Villeman tossed his season down the toilet by sitting out Daytona because of a shoulder injury. And a lot of people were thinking that Villeman shouldn't have done that, and I was one of those people. You have to show your toughness, and Villeman did not do that. I'm going to say that right now. And that's probably why Carmichael won the championship, because Villeman sat out, and Villeman just kind of gave a lack of effort from my view. And that really disappointed me, because Villeman is a guy that I really looked up to at the time. And of course, another example, Ryan Villapoto crashed out of the Anaheim 1 opener in 2013, finished 16th, and he came back to win the championship. All because of constantly winning. Jet Lawrence has the potential to do just that. He can win races. He can hit the podium. And that's what he's going to have to do. And hope for some bad luck from guys like Chase Sexton, Eli Tomac, I don't think he has to worry about Jorge Prado because he's still learning the ropes for Supercross. And he also has got to deal with Ken Roxon, Jason Anderson, Malcolm Stewart at times, Justin Barsha at times. That's a deep field. But if anybody can pull it off, it's Jet Lawrence. And that's why Jet is my pick to win this championship. So we'll see when we head to Phoenix if Jet Lawrence can get his head screwed on straight and maybe put in some fast laps and come through with the win. So anyway, guys, that's all for today. And remember, subscribe. We'll see you all for Phoenix. And thanks for watching, guys.